camera.
The reason for the miniature at the atmosphere processor, which was the Acton location, is there were limitations on what live action art department could deliver. And Jim wanted to see this incrustation, the alien sort of cocoon extending up and intertwined on the ceiling. And it seemed to be the only way to do that was with a miniature. It could have been handled as an insert, say a character looks up and sees it, but we decided that we wanted to do it as a tilt down, actually, you know, look up at it and then have the camera come down and see the actors in the shot. So the way that was created was the miniature, some of the miniature people went over to Acton. We went over with a camera. We paced out where the miniature would go and we figured out the size for it. And we took reference photos and built the miniature back at Pinewood Studios based on those measurements.
It pretty much had to be sculpted in place with a camera there, so the sculptors could see through the camera as they sculpted. This is the only way to do this type of shot. If this is the camera, the set's way back here. Right in front of the camera up here is a miniature that actually blends to the background. So because you're only looking through one little lens, a single lens, you don't have binocular vision, you have one eye. When you look through the lens, this foreground miniature would match up with the full-size set, you know, 30 or 40 feet away.
As it turned out, that was shot on the very first day of principal photography, and it was one of the first shots up, if not the first shot. And so we knew that it would be looked at by people at 20th Century Fox. So we wanted to make a really terrific shot. And you could imagine my surprise after we had set this miniature up, and we had all the actors out there, and I think David Giler was sitting on a ladder behind the set when Jim turned to me and said, "Well, it's your shot, you direct it." So I thought that was terrific. So I actually got to direct that shot in the film.
The actors that were in the foreground, their lights that were on their mounted on their shoulders were in fact interacting with the light across the top part of our miniature and then had to blend to the bottom. So we had somebody off camera moving a light around in sync with their action. So all of those things worked out together, and frankly, it all worked.
Part of the shot started with James Remar right up in camera on this foreground miniature shot, and he turns away and walks away. So and now it's a different actor. Now it's Michael Biehn. And they had actually, because this had happened after we'd shot this, the miniature was trashed. It was, it came back in a truck. It was styrofoam, it was delicate and so forth, and we thought we were all done, everybody was happy, and then Remar left. And Jim was saying, "Oh, we're going to have to reshoot this," and I was like, "Oh, putting this all back together," because it was just, it was very difficult to do this. So luckily he picked up the shot just as the other actor turned away. So it worked out, but it was, whoo.
A few weeks later, I guess this footage was being shot for Fox, and Gail Hurd was relating this anecdote. She was there, I guess, during the screening, and they looked at the footage, and they're saying, their reaction was, "Well, he's spending all this money on these gigantic sets, and there's no visual effects. Where are the visual effects?" And she kind of chuckled and said, "You saw the visual effects. That thing that you think is the art department spending a lot of money on the set is actually the effect shot." So we were real happy with that. You know, it's nothing better than to fool a studio exec.